Bitcoin price is crabbing along. Ethereum is hanging by a thread, and Monero just detonated out of a 1,000-day range. We're looking at critical levels across the board, levels that might decide what happens next. So if you're holding, trading, or just watching from the sidelines, now is the time to start paying attention, because these next few weeks, they could be the defining factor for the rest of 2025. All right, number one, Bitcoin. The weekly Bitcoin chart is telling us a story. Right off the bat, we've got a clean bounce off the 50-week SMA, right around that $76,000 level. The orange line is the 50-week SMA. Every single time the price approaches this line, buyers have stepped in like clockwork. The wick dipped below, but bulls said not today and sent it flying right back up. That's not weakness, that is some serious strength, guys. Okay, so Bitcoin is also seeing higher lows. Say what you want about the correction from $110,000, but structurally, we are still in an uptrend, as I talked about yesterday. Okay, so this isn't a relief rally. This is textbook bull market consolidation, and the longer we hold these levels, the stronger the next move up is going to be. You might be thinking, we're under the 21-week SMA. Isn't that bad? Not necessarily. If we close a weekly candle above that, buckle up. That's when things go parabolic, or could go parabolic. But until then, we're probably going to be hovering between these SMAs. I hate to break it to the bears, but this isn't a breakdown. This is a cool down. The RSI is resetting, and guess what? We're still above every major level that actually matters. We're not even close to a macro top. We are building the base for that top. So unless we lose $76,000, and I mean lose it hard, this market is still bullish. That's a line in the sand. What I'm about to show you on Ethereum's monthly chart is either the setup for an epic comeback or a nosedive. So let's start with the obvious. We're looking at a macro chart here, and Ethereum is hanging on by a thread. I'm not being dramatic. This is what a critical support breakdown looks like. We just lost the 0.382 fib level around 2,122. Every bounce since the all-time high at 4,867 has been weaker than the last. Lower highs and lower lows. It's the classic sign of a fading asset. The bulls keep trying and the bears keep smacking them down. Now look, I'll give you the glimmer of hope here. ETH is trying to form a hammer candle right above the 0.236 fib at 1,209. If we hold above 1,800 and the candle turns green by the end of the month, maybe we'll get a relief bounce. But let me be crystal clear. If this candle turns red again and we close under 1,800, then it's not looking so good, and the next fib level is at the bottom support at $870, which I would be so happy to see because I'm gonna buy like no other. Okay, but let's couple this with ETH BTC chart, which is finally approaching the bottom fib level. Keep in mind, this is the first time in history that the ETH Bitcoin chart has flipped oversold on the monthly RSI. This could potentially be a huge indicator for a reversal. Okay, so let's talk a little about fundamentals for a second. The ETH spot ETFs have added liquidity to the market, but recent data indicates net outflows, suggesting caution among investors. There is also the Pectra update to improve scalability and performance. This could help bring in some more builders and projects over to ETH and maybe drive a little bit of demand. Realistically, ETH is in a kind of uncertain place right now, so you have to keep a close eye on these levels we're showing you right now. All right, let's talk about Monero. This is an interesting one. We're looking at a chart that has just broken out of a 1,000-day range. I'm not exaggerating right now. That's over 3 years of sideways movement, stuck between roughly $115 and $192, and Monero just exploded out of it. This kind of breakout is a signal. Now, this isn't just some random candle wick. This breakout came with real volume. This is conviction from big players who have been loading up in that gray box for years, and they're finally letting loose. You think they're selling here at $220? I don't think so. They've been patient, and this is just the start. We're already above $220 as I'm recording this, and the chart is setting up for a textbook retest. If we get a clean bounce off that previous resistance at $192, it is game on. From there, the next target is $320, and if that breaks, we are looking at an all-time high retest of $500. And you know what? I'm so happy for Monero, considering all of these exchanges hate it. That's a big screw you to big banks and big exchanges. Okay, this is one of the cleanest technical setups in the entire market right now, unless Monero collapses back under $192. As always, privacy coins are under fire, as I just mentioned. Kraken just delisted XMR in Europe, and regulators are tightening that noose across the board. Bitcoin is no longer king of the dark web. Monero and stablecoins have taken over, and that shift has regulators even more nervous. Yes, that is what I want to see. And politically, if Monero keeps getting linked to illicit activity, that kind of heat brings serious risk, especially because Monero is very good at what it does, maybe too good, being a privacy coin, and the government hates that. Yes, even Trump, I don't care who it is in the US government, they hate Monero, okay? Of course, because of this, Monero developers are rolling out upgrades and pushing privacy to whole new levels. Despite getting kicked off exchanges, the XMR community is keeping it alive through peer-to-peer and decentralized platforms. Cha-ching! I absolutely love to see that. Now let's move on to Solana, the centralized coin. Solana is sitting right on top of that $118 to $124 support zone. This was resistance back in 2021, and it flipped to support in 2024. Now, Solana price is testing it again. If that level breaks, it's probably heading for $70. But here's the thing, long-term uptrend is still technically alive. There's a major ascending trend line from 2022 lows, and Solana is inching closer to that. If that trend line holds, we could see a massive leg up, maybe even past $300. But if Sol loses it, the whole structure collapses. It has also seen multiple rejections under $200, which tells you there are big time sellers sitting and waiting. Bulls are going to need some serious volume to punch through that level. Right now, this correction could be a reload phase, but only if support holds. Notice the long wicks on the candles, they tell a story. Buyers are still showing up, but they're getting a bit weaker. These wicks are shrinking. The defense is fading. Keep in mind that Solana ETFs are on the table, and CME is also planning to roll out Solana futures. If that gets the green light, it's game on for institutional capital. Crazy amounts of manipulation like you've never seen before. Okay, but I digress. In terms of upgrades, Solana is releasing Firedancer, which aims to fix the downtime issue and help with scalability. So what's the play? Either we bounce off $118 or the trend line continues to bounce off the $118 trend line and continues the bullish ride, or we break both and head straight to $70. All right, now let's finish up with Aave, which is a fantastic coin. For this one, we're looking at the daily chart. We've got a classic descending wedge forming. These things don't break down, they break out. Price is getting squeezed tighter, and we're sitting right at resistance right now. The support between $140 and $155 is holding strong, and buyers keep showing up. The volume is also spiking on dips. That means that this isn't retail panic buying. This is whales defending their turf. If we get a daily close above $180, it is game on, and that opens the door for a quick move to around $220. Maybe a run back to the $280 to $300 zone. Also, the momentum indicators like RSI and MACD are starting to ramp up. It's a signal the downtrend is fading and buyers are waking up. This is the kind of setup that has a potential to explode the price. Okay, so now let me know if you want to hear more macro and fundamentals on Aave, because we have yet to publish a deep dive on this one. Now, if you want to go deeper than YouTube, which I definitely recommend, and actually get ahead of this market, head over to learningcrypto.com, where you can sign up for our free newsletter. If you want to become a member, you'd get access to our portfolio and see exactly what we're buying and when we are selling, which we have already sold a lot. Most are making fun of me, but you know what? I've been in this space long enough to kind of skirt away the crowds and not listen to too many people. Talk to you soon.